Yo, Scrawny with the Skinny, back at it for the Pick'em Challenge and calling in from the Diamond Coin Club. Yeah, that's right, count them up. Cloud9, Heroic, Eternal Fire, The Mongols, and Furia. That is 5. The 5 we needed have been obtained. I look around me, all I see are fallen analysts, color commentators, and pundits who are now scrambling because remember, the Diamond and Gold coin are a badge of honor, right? You wear those ones with pride. But the next time somebody thinks you're cheating and matchmaking or you're bottom fragging and your teammates start to investigate your Steam profile, they're gonna see that you've got, a silver Copenhagen coin. And you can't delete those, you can't hide them, you can't run from your shortcomings. So let me help you, all right? It's like me and Pimp left out here in the run of the diamond coins as far as the talking heads are considered. And you know, I'm a humble guy. I'm gonna try my best to hopefully keep you guys afloat because God forbid that silver coin ruins your Steam profile for years to come. You will be playing CS2 for another decade. Counter-Strike is gonna be a part of your life forever. And this is your first CS2 coin. Do not waste this moment. Stay sharp. You know, a week ago, the Pick'em Challenge was important. Oh, now that you can't get diamond, you don't care? Look in the mirror, stop lying to yourself, and stay focused. Eyes on the prize. This is how mine went down, all right? I'll be honest, 0-3, completely off the mark. Apex, Ents, and Saw almost cost me everything. I had to bank on the Mongols. The Mongols beating Legacy today was the only thing that got me my 5th because my other 2 teams played head-to-head, would have been shy of it at the 4. Cloud9 Heroic, all right? A lot of people were talking about the meta of the new Pick'em Challenge and that how you just go seed 1 and seed 2 so that you guarantee they don't play against each other. But then at that point, then you have a chance at getting both games through if things go well. Yeah, well, at the same time, if you have 2 teams that do go head-to-head together, that's a guaranteed 3-0. And it feels like if you don't get one of these 3-0s and you don't get at least one of these 0-3s, you are in dire straits. So for me, I'm going to employ the same strategy here. I'm not going to be too concerned about the actual seeding, and instead, just the teams that I've got the most confidence in opening up in the best of ones. I think the key is predicting the best of ones. Those 2 rounds of best of ones, 3 rounds of best of ones. Only 2, of course, for the 0-3 3-0s. Those are the ones that I'm really trying to emphasize here. So let's start with the 3-0 picks, all right? First and foremost, Team Spirit. Team Spirit's not losing games this year. The only best of 3 that Team Spirit have lost in 2024, barring the Blast groups where they had 2 stand-ins, was a recent best of 3 versus Maus at the RMR. So we know Spirit can bleed. We've seen it now. But with the nature and lopsided scores that they are picking up so many series, to me, Spirit is hands down the most guaranteed 3-0 of this stage of the major. So Spirit is a gimme. Diamond. Diamond. Me? Me. Going for the diamond coin. Never give up, folks. Beyond that, I think the next easy answer would be FaZe Clan, right? The 1-2 seed. FaZe Clan, however, have some tough opening games. They open up versus Heroic, who I think have a little bit of momentum. Enough momentum coming off this first part of the major to maybe give FaZe some problems. The teams that I think you should really consider for 3-0, Spirit guaranteed, FaZe, Vitality, G2, these all seem like common responses, but I'm actually going in with Maus. Now, the only team to me that stuffs Maus every time, the only team that Maus can't quite seem to figure out is FaZe Clan. If Maus play FaZe in a 2-0 game, I expect they will lose. If it was on the big stage, if it was in the playoffs, I would almost guarantee you that they lose. However, this is also a stage of the major where sometimes FaZe don't look that hot. And we have to assume that FaZe gets through, if all things go as I've ran the simulation, a best of 1 versus Heroic and a best of 1 versus G2, who looked good at the RMR themselves and have a recent BO3 win over FaZe. So it's not that I don't believe in FaZe, it's just I think Maus have a nice easy run. They're going to queue up a BO1 versus Ecstatic to kick all things off, and then from that point forward, if Complexity win their opening game against Pain, that should be Maus' next opponent. We can't read too much into it. I'm just saying I'm confident in this Mouse, in this version of Brolin, in this response and return to form from Jim Pat after Pro League. All things point to a good major for Mouse. Playoffs, different story. That is their last, hurdle to overcome. But in terms of getting there, I'm saying Spirit and Mouse are the 3-0s to pick. And again, if they do get some seeding that pits them against each other, well, at least we're guaranteed one of the two, and then we can bank on maybe doing the same thing down in 0-3, which is where I'll go now. For me, there is one team that is an obvious pick. As confident as I am in the 3-0 Spirit, I am in the 0-3 Mongols. I'm sorry, they showed up here in Copenhagen and didn't deliver to the hype that all of us seem to have put them into. Mongols, they beat Lin Vision, a regional matchup they always end up kind of overtaking. They took out Amcal in a nail-biting best-of-3 that almost saw them go down as a 0-3 team, and then they got the easiest draw in the 2-2 matches to defeat Legacy, another team that so many people had as potential 0-3s. Amcal, Lin Vision, and Legacy. These are three teams that many considered to be 0-3 potential, and didn't do much in the major beyond that. Okay, Legacy beat Furia in a best-of-1. That's a domestic matchup. Coldzera played like a god until it wasn't good enough, etc. I'm sorry, I don't think Mongols have what it takes to do much damage at this stage. But it is exciting, of course, that they have secured that extra spot for the Asian RMR come the next major. At this point, there's a couple weird ones, all right? The teams where I think are less likely to go 0-3, but could. Complexity. I think at the start of the year, I did not have much faith in Complexity. They kind of dropped the ball at blast groups. They weren't very impressive in Katowice. And, unfortunately, did they play Katowice? There's another event they dropped the ball. All that matters to me is that Complexity aren't what they were when CS2 began, right? Which is why we are rating them so highly. Elish has looked amazing. The online struggles for Complexity I don't weigh too heavily. I'm putting Complexity and Ecstatic as potential 0-3s, just because I have faith in the Mao's 1-0 start over Ecstatic, and I think that Ecstatic's run to this stage of the major was also kind of easy. A best-of-3 versus Imperial, you take that. Most teams would love that matchup to try and get to top 16, of which, of course, Ecstatic did. And even though they had some awesome moments in that BO3, Kragan has the highest rated LAN performance of his entire career, Ecstatic still have now, at this point, a lot of pressure, right? To come into the first stage of the major and win was great because there were no expectations. But now you are playing for playoffs. Now you are playing with the thought that all of Denmark is now cheering for you, has eyes on you, etc. And I think that creates an environment where Ecstatic could end up struggling. However, in reality, Complexity and Ecstatic should be picking up best-of-1 or best-of-3 wins over some of these Brazilians. Pain to me is not on the chopping block, not 0-3. They've come in of the three Brazilian teams and played the best CS. Furia and Imperial are the other two potential 0-3s, and I'm throwing Imperial down there. There is a chance Imperial Mongols go head-to-head, and again, guaranteeing us one of these 0-3 picks. If we can get 1 3-0 and 1 0-3, all we need is 3 of the 6 in the 3-1, 3-2 advanced. So I'm pretty confident in these 4 picks already. I just think that, watching Imperial nearly implode with that overpass result in their decider game versus Gamer Legion, and the fact that a game versus Gamer Legion had to go to a third map, GL weren't even supposed to be at this event, weren't practicing nearly as hard as all the other teams in attendance, and still Imperial could barely put them down. It's been a great run for Brazil. Brazil did what they had to, securing so many top spots at top 16. All respect to Pain, Imperial, and the Furia 0-2 comeback, but I think this is the end of the road for Imperial in a sadder fashion than the others. 6 teams, boys. 6 teams to advance through 3-1, 3-2. To me, the top rope, FaZe Clan. Cannot imagine a major without them in playoffs. Vitality, again, same deal. ZywOo will not miss out on the playoffs of the major. And then G2. I'm actually just going to slide G2 onto the Vitality spot, because you know what? Vitality and even Virtus Pro, who I'm going to throw over here as well. Had some struggles in Katowice, right? To me, FaZe and G2, two heavy hitters, tons of experience, potential trophy hoisters. You know, they have what it takes. They've got the stars. And also, shout out G2, really good run off of the RMR. So when I see these four teams that I've placed, I go FaZe as this consistency in playoffs. They've made playoffs at every CS2 event in history. Why would this be any different? G2, really good recent form and absolute star players in m0NESY and Nico. This is, to me, a chance for Nexa and Hunter to raise the floor at the right moment for G2 to make playoffs. Vitality and VP, I think, could very well beat G2 on a good day, but they're a little hesitant, right? Remember that Virtus.pro and Vitality had this sketchy IEM Katowice at the beginning of the year after both teams looked good at Blast groups. So there's been a little back and forth, but I'm still pretty confident in these pieces. They both play very well under pressure. ZywOo is the best player in the goddamn world. Still better than Donk. He will be. Watch this. And what we're left with now are our last two spots. And man, oh man, this is where I'm kind of just left scratching my head. I truly believe that Eternal Fire will make a top 8 and will play playoffs at a big event at some point in 2024. It could be this one. I think with the right draw in a 2-2 matchup, Eternal Fire could end up going through. The reason the Eternal Fire stock fell off after this first half of the major is simply because once they started losing rounds, like in that Heroic game, it seemed like Eternal Fire were in free fall. And to kind of catch your footing and get back in control of your major attendance is something that I praise Eternal Fire for. They lost the game versus Heroic, sure, but Heroic have shown great promise throughout the start of this year, and then Eternal Fire were still able to, in their next opportunity the next day, qualify for top 16. This is, you know, the best Turkish team that we have seen, and I praise it. I praise all the pieces. Xantares is one of the highest rated players of the opening stage. I'm a little concerned that Woxic isn't having the form he did at RMR, but Calyx picks up slack. Is Major too much and will he sink it? I don't think so. For me right away, it's Heroic and Eternal Fire that I'm actually kind of banking on out of this gate. That being, again, I don't think this is the complexity that kicked off CS2. I don't think Cloud9 have what it take without the AWPer. Cloud9 had some pretty easy layup games, and a lot of them got close in order to get top 16. Ecstatic, Pain, and Furia, I just don't see it. You know, they've kind of limped through Furia, that is, from opening stage. Pain and Ecstatic, I think, are going to start to choke under the pressure. This is already a great accomplishment for both of these teams, but this is the point that we say goodbye. And at that point, I just haven't said Navi's name. And I truly think that Navi versus Eternal Fire could be, you know, the game that decides who that 8th playoff spot ends up being. And I would even interchange kind of Heroic with Eternal Fire in terms of confidence. The 6 teams, if this was like one of those 6-team playoffs where we only get 2 quarterfinals on stage, I would put it all in again. Spirit, Mouse, FaZe, G2, Vitality, Virtus.pro. Heroic, Eternal Fire, or Navi. You know, I really want to believe in Navi. I think we've seen good things. I'm a fan of Alexi B. I think Wonderful has played really well. And I do think that, you know, Navi knocking out Eternal Fire is something you could expect. But there's just that part of me that wants to continue believing in Eternal Fire and not put too much, you know, weight in the little bits of struggles we saw from them versus Heroic in that one game. I think this is it, man. I think this is the formula. I know taking Eternal Fire and Heroic from this stage of the major and kind of snubbing Navi seems a little sketchy, but I think this is it. I think this is the event they break through. And if I'm wrong on that one piece, at least on this stage, I'm more confident in my 3-0/0-3s than I was opening stage. That's it, dude. Diamond coin on the line. Eternal Fire over Navi. That's a bit of my own flex. It's your coin, your problems. Good luck out there.